At Tear Down, the song just popped into my head. I mean, the refrain, my house is a tear down. I was out bike riding in town and I was going through a neighborhood, and every house there that was, I think, built before 2000, they're just ripping them all down. I mean, it's kind of in an interesting part of town, and the lots are a little bigger, and it has a real nice secluded kind of winding network of roads that all kind of turn back in on themselves. So if you're bike riding back there, you never know quite where you'll end up. I mean, it's, even if you know the place, you just keep turning off on different roads, and it's like a dream, really, bike riding through there. The roads, how they weave in and out of each other. It's hard to explain, but maybe that and the bigger lots, in the 70s and 80s, people just put little ranch homes there, and pretty modest homes. And of course in the solid 70s as well. And now they're just being all, torn down. They're being all torn down, and it's happening. It's like a lake turning over now. It's just happening so quickly. If anybody, there's other neighborhoods in town like that too. They're just kind of in these hot parts of town where people want to come in and build these big houses. So yeah, I bike ride by them, and I don't really know many people there, or the people in the houses that are old or new, but there was one or two houses in particular, I just kind of stopped my bike there and I looked around and I'm like, my God, they have these monuments to masonry and modern day architecture and $1 million homes all around them on all sides, and I guess they're holding out. It's probably the house they lived in for the past couple decades, and I kind of tried to imagine maybe they raised some kids and had some stories, and kept it up on the houses. A lot of the some of the houses that are the teardowns, I think people just gave up on them. They realized, wow, the land value is worth more than the house itself, and it's now an investment. Let's maybe they already sold it. I don't know, and it's just waiting to be torn down. In other cases, I have the sense that the old guard's still there, and they're just watching their neighborhood change. And you always want your neighborhood to be on the path of progress. I remember growing up as a kid, my grandparents lived in Baltimore City, and through nobody's fault, the neighborhood just got a little more dangerous, and I guess a lot of people fled to the suburbs, and that just became a less trendy place to live. And here we are in many towns, you just see the house values going up and up and up. But I think up north, there's certain towns in urban areas, and maybe those urban areas are making a turn, or areas, cold weather climates that the population's leaving, and property values go down. So you always, aspire to be in a house that, your hard work and sweat equity is compounded, or compound interest with a general rise in the real estate values. But you hate to live in a house knowing that you poured all that energy in, knowing it's going to be knocked down at the end of the day. So the song just kind of tries to capture the maybe simple thoughts of a guy, at the twilight of his life, sitting out there in his yard, thinking about what's going to happen and reflecting on his life. His life's a tear down. He built all this, and maybe he's hoping to pass it on, or that it would, some of the good decisions he made on building materials would withstand the test of time, and they withstood the storms, but they didn't withstand the kind of the rich folks moving in and buying it up and not appreciating what he built and just knocking it all down. So those houses, they deserve to be photographed and put up on a wall somewhere. They're and it you see that with any house. I mean, they have their life cycle. Some houses are there forever. But really a place is about the people. You know, I've gone back to places that, I remember my brother lived at this one place. It was kind of a communal place back when he was in his college years, and I went back there. I had an opportunity to go back there a year later or two when he was no longer there, but I knew a bunch of the people, and it just, you know, he wasn't there, so it didn't quite feel the same. And then a year or two later, I was passing by again, and I stopped, and it was all new faces, and it was like the place had gone blank, you know, like the place had died in a way, you know, like, you know, you see the life in a person's eyes, and then they die, and it can happen architecturally too, when the people that inhabit the place are no longer there. And maybe you still connect with it. I mean, you go back to parks, and maybe there's you know, you might go back to your old neighborhood, and some things are still the same, and you connect with it. But if the people aren't there, it's never the same. So the teardown is, you know, it's not right or wrong that it's getting torn down. It's, you know, just a guy sitting there trying to think about what it all means. And he never thought he was building a house to be torn down. He thought he was building something great, you know, a life and a family, and trying to make a house a home. And then just to know that, well, in the end, it was just maybe worth really nothing. It was the land that was worth everything, and people just want your land, and they'll buy it for you. They'll get the money, put it in your pocket. But, you know, it's a person's connection to home. You know, where is home? I mean, when you're growing up, you know where home is, and then you leave the house and you make a new home, and hopefully that's your home for life. Or maybe, you know, home is where the people are, you know, that you love, and you hope that's a good home. But ultimately, home is, you know, where you are, and, you know, that's all you can hope for, really. So tear it down. I think it's a good song. Timing is good. Maybe I'll take it back and share it with some of the old guard there in the neighborhoods that I bike through.